Throughout the fall of 2024, mysterious drones were reported in large numbers regularly flying over major cities on the East Coast, from the United States, particularly New Jersey. And today, in February 2025, these mysterious drones are still being reported, always in the same geographic areas. And no one can provide a clear explanation for the origin of these drones. Welcome to the UFO Section 51 channel. I'm Dose Geek, and it's always a pleasure to have you back on this channel. This amazing channel dedicated to ufology, all those questions that constantly spark our curiosity about the celestial objects that regularly visit our planet. UFOs, or UAPs in English. I hope you're doing well and ready for this new video. Of course, before we get started, I invite you to like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Now, let's dive right into the topic that interests us today, of course. Drones, these mysterious drones of unknown origin that regularly fly over the east coast of the United States, particularly New Jersey. Reported by numerous witnesses, both civilians and police. These mysterious drones have been flying regularly and very frequently. Over a long period, vast areas, often populated, and even military zones, have been affected, with no one able to figure out exactly what their origin was. Even the US military authorities were completely powerless in the face of this phenomenon. FBI agents, American police, and many resources have been mobilized to conduct investigations and try to determine the origin of these drones. Journalists have also investigated this phenomenon. At first, it was thought that these drones might be sent by a foreign military power, like China or North Korea or something, but it was never really very clear. All we know is that numerous witnesses, and often military personnel as well, have confirmed that drones were observed heading toward an area somewhere in the ocean, raising the hypothesis that there might be, somewhere in the middle of the ocean, a mothership that could be the point of origin, and also the gathering point for all these drones. But one of the questions that remains unanswered today is, if we already had an idea about the starting point of these drones, why not have sent helicopters or fighter planes? Inspect those areas of the Atlantic Ocean where we suspected there was some sort of abnormal activity. No, officially, nothing has been done in that direction so far, which is absolutely incredible and very surprising. So today, the topic is back on the table with a new video from an American official, the mayor of New Jersey, Melham, who states that the drones are still around. They are still flying over residential neighborhoods. They are flying over different areas of his city. And for now, nothing has been done to try to curb this phenomenon or to understand its origin. So let's watch the video. New drones are still flying in the sky. The mayor of New Jersey, Melham, stated that drones flew over his house last night, despite the White House's claim that the activity is over. According to him, the drones are still flying around here, so when they use the past tense, it's alarming. Video from January 31st, 2025, it's recent.
I got news for the federal government. Drones are still flying over New Jersey. They were flying over my house on Tuesday night, and they were flying over my house on Wednesday night. Drones are still flying here, so when they use the past tense, that's alarming.
Obviously, there have been reactions under this post on X, including Sean, who says that Jeremy Corbell doesn't believe Trump's explanation about the drones. Since there was recently an official statement from a spokesperson for the American president regarding this issue of drones, but we'll come back to that later. Now, we're going to watch a clip from this interview with Jeremy Corbell about the issue. Jeremy Corbell doesn't believe the Trump administration's explanation about the drones. Logically, this explanation makes no sense. It's a real smokescreen.
I was disappointed today, and that happens very rarely. I thought that they were going to say some things about what's going on and the different kinds of drones and the new reality and what has to change, and we got none of it. Was I just wrong in my expectation, or are we still waiting for the truth?
Yeah, I mean, just logically, good to see you. Just logically, that explanation does not make any sense. You know, did the FAA authorize the ones that buzzed Langley for 17 nights in a row, or the untrackable drones that infiltrated 3 US and UK air bases for weeks? You know, why were the drones not affected by anti-drone technology? Did the FAA issue flight restrictions if they authorized this? If these were approved tests, why did the FAA, DOD, FBI, or anybody else, why didn't they tell us that for months? It's an absolute whitewash. It's sad to hear. I was disappointed we didn't get any true answers this time.
This reaction logically comes in response to the official statement from the American president's spokesperson on the matter. In this case, it was Caroline Leavitt, the White House spokesperson, who spoke on the issue and stated that the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, had been authorized to fly drones for research and various other reasons. That would be the official explanation. But what Jeremy Corbell is saying is that it's completely inconsistent. If the FAA had actually been carrying out all of these operations for several months and was fully aware of all of these drones, if everything was authorized, if everything had been done properly, and that, indeed, these drones were flying for the purpose of research, of experimenting for various reasons. So why hasn't the FAA spoken out since September, since October, publicly to explain the origin of these flights, to try to calm down a bit of the collective hysteria that was going on around these drone flights, which were being reported almost daily by American citizens and even by American officials, police officers, FBI agents, military personnel? Nobody could figure out what was going on. It had reached a point where it had really become a matter of national security. So, this statement, this attempt at an explanation, is a bit hard to swallow given the scale of the phenomenon. That's why Jeremy Corbell is struggling to swallow the pill. Here we are on the Daily Mirror's site. Donald Trump reveals the truth about the UFOs in New Jersey, but the research claims leave us with questions. Indeed, it leaves us puzzled. According to Caroline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, has been authorized to fly drones for research and various other reasons. An article published on January 29, 2025. Donald Trump revealed that the mysterious drones reported over New Jersey are not UFOs, but were bizarrely ordered to conduct research. However, due to the growing curiosity from individuals about these drones, it's worth mentioning that many flying drones were also operated by hobbyists, by individuals for recreational purposes. We can definitely consider that possibility, but the phenomenon was still pretty huge. There have been thousands of reports, and I don't think those thousands of drones were being flown by hobbyists. During her first press conference, Leavitt stated that the information came directly from the President of the United States and that he had just shared it with her in the Oval Office. The new information that the President ordered the research has raised even more questions. Because the FAA had already stated last month that the sightings were due to commercial drones, legal drones, hobbyist drones, law enforcement drones, manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars mistakenly reported as drones. So I'm sorry, but when we see some videos, by the way, we're going to look at a few videos of those famous drones to get back in context. Well, many of the drones filmed by witnesses are performing some pretty strange maneuvers. Some pretty unlikely maneuvers, which definitely rules out the possibility of a star or a planet. However, the FAA did not mention any research that would explain the wave of mysterious light. Drones were first spotted in November, and I would even say well before that, in September-October. Above the military bases and Trump's golf course in Bedminster, there were fears that they might be spy drones. Former President Joe Biden completely denied in December that they were linked to China or Iran. After research and studies, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were supposedly authorized to fly by the FAA for research purposes and various other reasons. That's the official explanation. At 27 years old, the young spokesperson tried to reassure the public by claiming that it wasn't the enemy. But she didn't reveal who was using the drones or why they were doing it. So, here we have a photo among many others of these famous drones. They were first spotted in November above the military bases. The investigation was reportedly launched after, on the very first day of his term in the Oval Office, Trump promised that he would start looking into the mysterious activities of the drones and that he would authorize it. His chief of staff, Susie Wiles, is looking into his observations. He said, "I'd like to find out what it is and tell people about it." Could we find out what it was, Susie? Why don't we figure it out right away? And Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry had already stated that these drones were also flying over nuclear power plants. We brought this issue to the FAA's attention and asked them to give us the ability to limit these drones. This information is on the desks of some bureaucrats, and it's very real. And unfortunately, this information has remained in files on the desks of the administrations, with nothing being done about it. And yet, despite all these official statements, there are still many citizens. Many witnesses who are convinced that they weren't drones. It was something else. So, now we're going to take a look at one of those videos that clearly shows these lights in the sky. And it often looked like this kind of sighting. Bright objects with multiple lights in the sky, often at night. Above houses or over military zones. It's pretty strange. You're going to see. Here are some of the best footage so far of mysterious drones over northern New Jersey. Here, Woodbridge. As you can see, the drones are hovering, they're not planes. December 13th, 2024, reports came in earlier this evening. According to reports, a plane landing at LaGuardia in Queens, New York, was diverted to the airport, JFK, because of those drones. I saw this on October 31st in Houston.
Here's another one, right here. Let's zoom in. What is that? There's no sound. What is that? What is it? There is no fucking sound. That is the sixth one.
He says he doesn't hear any sound, while normally, drones would make some noise. You would hear the sound of the rotors, which is pretty noticeable. It often sounds like a buzzing noise. And indeed, we don't hear anything. If we go back to the first post on X, particularly Jeremy Corbell's reaction during an interview, we have a user saying, News Nation had a film crew shooting unknown drones in New Jersey, but no one in the network bothered to use night vision equipment. So they missed a historic opportunity. To this day, I haven't seen any night vision photos or videos. Infrared binoculars with SD card recording are available for purchase. It's really easy to get your hands on them. It's strange, indeed, that we don't have a lot of night vision footage regarding these drones. Could this be linked to the recent plane and helicopter accident? You know, the tragic accident where there were many fatalities. That's true, it's an interesting question. Here, we have someone else reacting insane. They're still out and about right now. Apparently, there are still drones flying over northern Utah. They fly over my neighborhood at dusk and dawn, following what seems to be the same pattern every time. I'm sure this has nothing to do with the military base, the NSA data center, the Google data center, or the Facebook data center. They are all within 8 kilometers, but they are authorized and are not the enemy. They are just doing some informal research above my house. You know, it's part of the FAA's drone research program. The FAA has approved drones the size of an SUV, flying over people's homes. Does that make you love the government, right? I bet if something went wrong and it crashed into a house, they'd say, we have no idea what that is, and it's not approved by the FAA. Never believe it was just the FAA doing research. Anyway, I'm in Australia. And we shouldn't have government drones. Or maybe we don't need research because I never see any. Let's see, so apparently, according to the FAA, 99% of the videos are about planes. Okay. I keep seeing them every night in Maurice County. Very large drone slices keep flying in the sky over Los Angeles at night. At the same time, there's still that same noise, pretty loud and constant. So, about the drones flying over the mayor's house, nobody cares. No problem. it's just research. They haven't stopped. It continues, always. I see them every night. Since October, between Baltimore and Philadelphia, tons and tons of drones and planes every night. But other than that, for the FAA, no problem. Keep it moving, everything's fine. That's interesting, because Tom Smith is telling us it might be Trump's biggest failure, right from the start of his term, since he could be caught lying about those drones. The topic has also been discussed on Reddit. Drones are still flying in New Jersey. Mayor Mel Lam stated that drones flew over his house last night, despite the White House's claim, according to which the activity had been over for a long time. Drones are still flying here. So when they use the past tense, it's really alarming. Among the internet users who reacted on Reddit, there's Ben Gisano, who says, I'm from the UK and we've had the same drones flying here. What are they going to say? It's also the case that recently, events have occurred. Our government stated that we have a lot of them around our military bases, etc. But they have also appeared in Germany, Spain, and Poland. Is it really just a coincidence? Personally, I don't think it's a coincidence. I've seen videos. That's well beyond my expertise. I don't know anything about aviation or cameras, so I have no idea. We'd better focus, I guess, about the sightings around sensitive areas, and to see if these events somehow have similarities with those in the United States. I couldn't find a lot of detailed information. Yes, the UK is very tight-lipped about military issues. I believe it's just a matter of time before this blows up in their faces. As you can see, the NHI doesn't care at all, and continues to fly over politicians' homes despite the White House's declaration that they are gone. They made a statement and the phenomenon will only continue. Let's hope it's in a positive way and not like an alien invasion. I really wish they'd keep a star cruiser in the upper atmosphere for a year instead of all these flickering lights. That would cause too much commotion, I think, and that's why they don't do it. Damn, we don't even know if they're friendly. They could just be spying on us and want to mess us up or enslave us. For me, the scariest part is not knowing their intentions. So far, it still looks like a benevolent species that's slowly revealing itself. So far, nothing really harmful has happened. So far, we've already heard stories, and some of them are pretty concerning. Let's just hope there are many species with both good and bad intentions. I pretty much agree with your feeling, but in my opinion, everything that's happening has been around for a long time. If they wanted us to leave, we would have been gone a long time ago. To be honest, I'm not too worried that they're trying to exterminate us. That would have already happened. At least, I hope so. You really have no way of knowing what their intentions are. There's also talk of a reset for humanity. There are a lot of theories going around. If they wanted to make a public statement, they could have done better than just literally skimming the surface. And following these statements, there was another article on the Futurism site that highlights the whistleblower, former military barber, who we talked about in a previous video regarding that famous egg-shaped UFO that was supposedly recovered by the military. You know, that famous video. A whistleblower on UFOs claims that Trump was lied to about his drones in New Jersey. Someone isn't telling the whole story to our new president. Donald Trump's White House insists that the strange drones seen flying over New Jersey were approved by the government. But a whistleblower on UFOs is calling out the lies. A few days before his inauguration, Trump promised to uncover the truth about the massive wave of drones that were reportedly seen flying all over the Garden State, including near the golf course he owns in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Just a week after taking office, he seems to have kept his promise by asking his incompetent press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, to tell the public that there was nothing to see in the sky. After research and studies, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to fly by the FAA, to declare the bishop during a press briefing earlier in the week. This information comes directly from the President of the United States, according to him. Beyond its lamentable sentence structure, the statement left a lot to be desired. The statement was pretty disappointing, especially regarding the identity of the person who conducted the research and study, and whether this included similar drones seen flying in New York and elsewhere. But fed up with the lack of explanations from the White House, a user on X reached out to an Air Force veteran, became a whistleblower on UFOs, named Jake Barber, to ask for his opinion. The activity that took place there was not approved by the FAA. I know this from experience, Barber wrote. I was specifically tasked with examining the debacle from the perspective of a FAA violation in order to provide a basis for the FBI. Someone isn't telling the whole story to our new president. The whistleblower continued. Given that Trump is essentially trying to dismantle the entire government, it's certainly plausible that the FAA isn't telling him the whole truth. But Barber's comments, especially regarding his work on the Jersey drone investigation, should still be taken with a grain of salt. In early January, Barber spoke to the right-wing journal News Nation with an incredible story. During his time in Air Force Special Operations, he encountered strange debris from UFOs, or unidentified aerial phenomena, just by looking at the object on the ground, especially that famous egg-shaped object that was supposedly recovered. You could say it was extraordinary and abnormal. The former military official told the news channel about the egg-shaped objects the size of an SUV. It wasn't human. Like other former Pentagon members before him, Barber claims to have worked for a secret UFO research office within the military. He stated that after witnessing these massive and bizarre debris, it was confirmed to him that their origin came from non-human intelligence. So, who's telling the truth? The journalist concludes his article by saying maybe we'll never know. So, once again, in this story, who's telling the truth? And if we refer to the egg-shaped UFO video we saw in a previous video, is this famous whistleblower, Jake Barber, really that reliable? Remember, in the video I showed you, I had some doubts about the authenticity of that video because it was pretty poorly filmed. We had very few reference points, and there were a lot of details that made me think that, indeed, this video didn't seem very credible. A lot of internet users were pretty disappointed with the content of that video. So, should we believe these new revelations from whistleblower Jake Barber about Donald Trump, and also about how the truth regarding these mysterious drones may have been distorted to him? Are these drones UFOs? Could these drones be objects of extraterrestrial origin sent on missions for studies, research, or surveillance of various nuclear or military sites or scientific research? It's really hard to know exactly what the true intention of these drones is, until we have more information, or at least until the American authorities continue to withhold information. On what information they may have about these drones. This may not be the best way for Donald Trump to start on the UFO issue as the new American president, since, in fact, his official statements don't add anything to the public debate about these drones. I would even say that it raises more questions than it provides answers. That doesn't reassure people at all. So today, in early February 2025, the question of these mysterious drones that keep flying over the United States is still not resolved. US authorities still haven't been able to provide a satisfactory answer regarding the true nature of these drones. What could it be about? Are they objects of extraterrestrial origin? Or could they be military drones sent by a foreign power, like China or Iran? Noting the multiple contradictions in the statements of these official American organizations, and also noting that the drone phenomenon continues. Personally, I would tend to lean towards the first hypothesis. But what do you think? What do you think is the exact origin of these drones? What's your theory? I'm opening up the discussion, so feel free to react in the comments below this video. Of course, I'll post all the links to this information in the video description. Please feel free to share the video, like it, to subscribe to the channel. This was Geek on the UFO Section 51 channel. I hope that in the coming weeks, light will be shed on this subject, which still seems unexplained, and perhaps we should be alarmed by it. Maybe even we'll witness this kind of phenomenon here in France. We will witness this kind of phenomenon in the coming weeks. The future will tell. Thanks for watching this video anyway. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Thanks for your support for the UFO Section 51 channel. I'll see you very soon in a new video. Until then, sending you big hugs. Take care of yourselves, keep your eyes on the sky, stay alert, and I wish you long life and prosperity.
Longue vie et prospérité.